Ministry of Health records an uptick in vaccination numbers. Details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back. With the details to the news for Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021, I am Sherry-Ann Noel. As COVID-19 cases continue to rise, health officials are also reporting an increase in the number of persons being vaccinated, as well as the number of those who are recovering. The Ministry of Health's dashboard for September 21st records 2,021 total recovered cases. During the No Movement weekends alone, close to 2,000 Grenadians were vaccinated at the various clinics across the country. Just over 500 people were vaccinated during the first No Movement weekend, and the last weekend a further 1,300 turned out to receive their dose of either Pfizer or AstraZeneca. During Tuesday's post-cabinet press briefing, Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles said while this is pointing to positive signs, there is still a long way to go.
So we are seeing a healthy uptick in vaccination. And importantly, first doses, 1,191 individuals came out and get their first dose of the vaccine. So we see that the message is getting out there to many individuals. And 199, they're second. Right? So our vaccination rate as a population is increasing. Of course, we would like that rate to go up at a faster rate because we don't have time. Right now, we are out of time. We are out of time to protect the people that we are trying to protect. And it will be desirable that they all come forward to get vaccinated immediately.
One of the driving pillars behind the increased numbers in testing and vaccination is the collaborative effort of scores of volunteers from SGU and the community, along with private practitioners who turned out to support the initiative.
The work continues. On our end, the work continues. We salute the volunteers. We have witnessed recently an outpouring of support. Volunteers, both local, regional, from near and far. All right, we have individuals that are coming out to assist us at our testing and vaccination sites. We have persons who have donated supplies. And we are very encouraged by this because community spirit is what is going to get us out of this mess that we're in. It's each one doing their little part that is going to help the country in general get out of the situation that we are in.
To win the war against COVID-19, Dr. Charles says all Grenadians must play their part. Moving along, calls by Minister for Health, Honorable Nicholas Steele, and Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles for Grenadians to get vaccinated to guard against COVID-19 are being backed by the Assistant Professor at the Department of Psychology, Neuroscience and Behavioral Science at the St. George's University. During a telephone interview with the Government Information Service on Wednesday, Dr. Alvarez Toledo Nilo also appealed to Grenadians to seize the opportunity to get vaccinated to avoid serious complications if they catch the virus.
If you have the opportunity to get the vaccine, get vaccinated. That's the only way we have to prevent the complications from COVID. COVID is here to stay for a long time, and the bad thing with the COVID is really that the patients can get very complicated. And guess what? These patients that get complicated is because most of them are not vaccinated. So the vaccination really changed everything. Really changed the prognosis. Whenever I have a patient that calls me and say, "Doctor, how are you doing? I have COVID," I ask them, "Are you vaccinated?" If they say yes, I tell them, "Congratulations. You will be fine, you will be okay.
Dr. Nilo says his biggest concern is being told that a person who has contracted the virus is unvaccinated, having knowledge from a medical perspective what the virus can do to the human body, especially if the patient has underlying medical conditions.
I can tell you that this virus is not a joke. This virus can kill people. And we just have to look at the numbers that we have. How many from the people that have died in Grenada are vaccinated, and how many of the people are unvaccinated. So please, to the general population, we did ourselves. So all the health professionals in Grenada, we most of all are vaccinated, fully vaccinated, and our families as well. So we are really bringing this message to the general population that yes, we need to get vaccinated. We need to get, if we were 20% 3 weeks ago, we want to get 70, 80, 90%, and this is possible.
Moving along, Prime Minister and Minister for National Security, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, is heartened by the rate of recovery among police officers affected by COVID-19. In recent weeks, a significant number of police officers either tested positive for COVID-19 or were placed in isolation due to exposure to the virus. The situation placed an additional burden on the system and required various adjustments to ensure that police operations continued seamlessly. The majority of affected officers have since resumed active duties, having recovered and or completed the period of isolation. Sadly, 2 officers succumbed to the disease, and the Prime Minister has expressed condolences to the families of the deceased, as well as to the rank and file of the Royal Grenada Police Force. In an interview on Sister Al's Radio Tuesday, Dr. Mitchell said the job of the police force is to protect us, and since the start of the pandemic, they have been making tremendous sacrifices to fulfill this duty. Unfortunately, some of them became infected with the virus, but I am heartened to hear that many of them have recovered. I must thank them for the immense sacrifices they continue to make to ensure the safety and security of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique. They deserve all the commendation for the work they are doing at this time as part of our frontline personnel, unquote. This is a national report. The news will return after the break.
This is a message from the Ministry of Health. If you or a family member suspect that you may have contracted COVID-19 and are displaying symptoms, please immediately self-isolate at home. This means that you must also avoid all contact with other members of your household. Do not visit hospitals or health centers, as this creates the potential for further spread of the virus, and it puts additional persons at risk when you come into contact with them. Your best course of action is to call the COVID-19 hotline at 458-4787 or 538-4787, or contact your nearest health center or medical station. Once your information has been received, health officials will come to you. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. This has been a message from the Ministry of Health.
And welcome back. A call to return to God is the chosen theme for 2 days of prayer in Grenada on Saturday, September 25th and Sunday, September 26th. Chair of the Conference of Churches in Grenada, Reverend Silbert Prescott, and Pastor Devon Rashi, President of the Alliance of Evangelical Churches, said the National Days of Prayer are important as there have been calls from several quarters of the nation for spiritual engagement in light of the devastating impact of COVID-19 on many families.
On Saturday the 25th, the idea is that Christian leaders would share reflection and prayers on radio and television and the various social media platforms beginning at 7 a.m. and continuing throughout the day until 7 p.m. This will be done in 1 hour intervals every other hour. That is, beginning at 7 a.m., then it will, and then at 9 a.m., and then at 11 a.m., 1 p.m., 3 p.m., 5 p.m., and concludes at 7 p.m.
Reverend Silbert says on Sunday, September 26th, leaders from all religious communities are expected to engage in events that will help people to have an understanding of what's happening and the need to keep God at the forefront of all that they do.
Whether it is from 1 or for 1 hour or the entire day, whatever duration they would want. But we are suggesting that those activities be family focused, so as to enable families throughout this land to come together and to find some time for family-centered reflection, renewal, and recommitment to God.
President of the Alliance of Evangelical Churches, Pastor Devon Rashi, says Saturday 25th and Sunday 26th are days to really reflect and give thanks, irrespective of one's religious denomination.
We encourage families to really take this time as a time to reflect as a family and to determine where am I, where are we as a family as it pertains to God's standards. Sometimes we tell ourselves as individuals that we are all fine, and some people may think that this is just for some people, but this call to return to God is for everyone, from leaders of our nation to spiritual leaders of churches to everyone else within the general public. So this is not just for a select few, but this is for the majority. This call is for everyone to be part of it.
The religious community is soliciting the help of radio and television entities to play their part by playing music and sharing information that will be conducive to creating a prayerful atmosphere. The government of Grenada continues to provide additional financial support to students on government scholarships overseas who have been severely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. This is being done through Grenada's embassies in the various countries. In addition to the financial support provided in 2020, the government continues to make a stipend available to the awardees. Parents of other individuals assigned to receive on behalf of the awardees are reminded that funds are available and that they should contact the scholarship desk at the Ministry of Education, Human Resource Development, Religious Affairs and Information, if they have not yet done so, for an appointment to arrange for collection of the stipend. The scholarship desk can be reached via telephone at 473-440-2737 or email at hrd@moe.gov.gd. And finally, in the news this evening, Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell has expressed deep appreciation to members of the Community Nursing Division of the Ministry of Health, who are among those on the forefront of Grenada's fight against COVID-19. Public officers within this department are primarily responsible for testing and surveillance within communities, as well as the COVID-19 vaccination drive. In a virtual meeting with some members of the team on Tuesday, Dr. Mitchell said, "The pandemic is a tough time for everyone. As a politician, it is one of the toughest periods I have experienced, and I therefore cannot imagine how difficult it must be for persons like you who are actually risking your lives daily and sacrificing valuable family time. The entire cabinet speaks consistently of the tremendous work that you are doing, and we are grateful for the many sacrifices you are making. Therefore today, on their behalf and on behalf of the people of Grenada, Carriacou and Petite Martinique, I say thank you." The Prime Minister noted that while health officers are largely dedicated to the fight against COVID-19, there are some who misinform and try to discourage members of the population on the subject of vaccination. Chief Community Health Nurse Carol Telesford Charles acknowledged that this is blemished on the profession and also creates an ethical situation. She said, "While we are trying to fight a public health battle, some colleagues are pushing back. However, I must say we have a very committed team and nurses have been working non-stop for almost 18 months. There is no amount of money that can compensate for what we are doing. We love what we do and we are committed to serving our communities." Nurse Charles gave particular recognition to Nurse Audrey Lyons, whom she says has been working 12-hour days to ensure that vaccines are readily available for the public. And with that story, we come to the end of the National Report for Wednesday, September 22nd, 2021. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Sharian Noel, thanking you for viewing.